Hi everyone. So my name is Jessica Camir, and the lesson that we're going to be doing is the Module E Pilot Mini Vocabulary Lesson number 35 out of 40, okay? So lesson number 35 contains a list of 10 words, as you can see over here, okay? So now I'm gonna make the words bigger for you to see, the words that we're going to learn. So the words that we'll learn today are number 1, challenge. Number 2, damage. Number 3, essentially. Number 4, it's a phrase, for some time. Number 5, guide. Number 6, law. Number 7, optional. Number 8, probable. Number 9, required. And finally, number 10, tradition. So with these words, I want to know if you can understand and use these target 4-point words from band 3, okay? If not, please don't worry, that's what we're going to do today. So we'll learn today to understand the word when reading it. We'll learn how to pronounce the word with the correct intonation and stress. We will learn to adapt and expand phrases using the word. We will use the word correctly in a sentence. We will give a synonym or antonym for the word. Okay, remember synonym is words with similar meanings and antonyms are words with opposite meanings. And we will learn word families that are connected to the words. So this is going to be how the lesson's going to go. So where it says here introduction, this is where I'm going to have the word, the new vocabulary word, written big and bold. Here I'm going to have the translation in Hebrew and in Arabic. I don't know Arabic, so I'll only read the Hebrew to you, okay? And then over here, we're going to have a picture. And this picture, I'm going to do my best to pick a picture that represents the definition of the word. Here, we will have a definition in English. In this light blue rectangle, we will have a sentence that uses the word. And over here in green, we'll have extras. So in the extras, I can maybe put synonyms or antonyms, or I can put other ways of using the vocabulary word. So the first word that we'll talk about now is challenge. Okay, challenge is a noun. In Hebrew, it's edgar. The English definition is a difficult task or problem, something that is hard to do. So as you see in this picture, the man, he's challenged. He has to get from point A to point B, but he has challenges, right? He has this wrecking ball here in his way. An example of using the word in a sentence would be, passing the test was hardly a challenge. Okay, so in other words, it's saying that the test was very easy for her, okay? Another way of using challenge, okay, would be to rise to the challenge or meet the challenge. This is another way of saying to succeed, okay? So an example would be, the coach is confident that you will rise to the challenge. In other words, the coach is confident that you will succeed, okay? Rise to the challenge equals succeed. The next word is damage, okay? Damage is a noun, nezek. Now I chose to pick a picture of houses that have been damaged, okay? So one house has been damaged by lightning, one house has been damaged by severe rain, one by fire, okay? So damage, the English definition is physical harm that is done to something or to someone's body. Okay, so an example of a sentence would be, the items were carefully wrapped to protect them from damage during shipping. Okay, now in our extras we have water damage, sun damage, or frost damage. So this is damage which could be caused by either water, sun, or frost. Okay, so for example now in Israel, especially in August, the sun is very, very strong. So if you leave maybe a book outside all day, the book can be sun damaged by the sun, so maybe some of the colors of the book will fade. Okay, then you have property damage. So property damage is houses, cars, etc., things that are damaged or ruined. Okay, so an example would be, few people were hurt during the storm, but property damage was great. Okay. Essentially is an adverb, okay? In Hebrew, it's be'ikar. So here I chose a picture of a flower. What are the things that are essential to the flower to live. So you need sunlight and water, okay? And also the soil. So essentially, the definition is used to emphasize the basic, fundamental, or intrinsic nature of a person, thing, or situation. An example would be, he's essentially a good man. So in other words, overall, he's a good person. Some extras would be bare essentials. Bare essentials, it's a noun, and it's things that are absolutely necessary. So an example would be, we only had enough to pack the bare essentials in our suitcase. Okay? Bare essentials. Okay, here we have a phrase, for some time. Okay? B'meshech zman. For some time. So in other words, the definition is for a long period of time. An example sentence would be, I have been studying Hebrew for some time. A synonym, or a word or phrase with a similar meaning would be long, lasting, and extended. An antonym, or words with opposite meanings, would be for a short period of time. The next word here we have is guide. Okay, guide. Here we're talking about the noun, madrich. You also have guide, which is a verb, ladrich, okay? Again, how do you know which guide we're talking about? So it depends on the context of the sentence. So here in my picture, you have here a guide. A guide is the lady with the flag, right? She's showing them the Eiffel Tower. She's guiding them around Paris, and she herself is the guide. So it is a person who leads or directs other people on a journey. A person who shows and explains the interesting things in a place. Now a sentence would be, we hired a guide for a trip to the mountains. Okay, usually you'll hire a guide if you're going to a place that you don't know, right? So you'll have a guided trip or a trip that's guided that you have a guide. Or if you go to a place that you know that you've been to often, you probably wouldn't have a guide. Now in our extras, we have something called a guidebook. So a guidebook is a book of information about a place designed for the use of visitors or tourists. So I know usually before I go on a trip, I'll get a guidebook and I'll read about the place where I'm going to, so I know what to expect when I go. You also have a tour guide, okay? A tour guide is the person employed to show tourists around places of interest, okay? So here, she's the tour guide. Our next word is law, okay? Law, it's a noun, chok. So you have two definitions, but they're very similar. So the first one is the whole system or set of rules made by the government of a town, state, country, etc. Or it can be a rule made by the government of a town, state, country, etc. Okay, so example, you have the no smoking law, right? You're not allowed to smoke in bars and restaurants anymore. Let's give you an example of a sentence using the word law. There is a law requiring schools to provide a safe learning environment. Okay? For our extras, we have something called a law firm. So a law firm is a group of lawyers, okay, more than one lawyer, that work together, they cooperate together as a business to handle cases. Okay? Now, when you say that someone practices law, it means that he or she works as a lawyer. Okay? So I'm actually very proud of my lawyer. My brother, he's a lawyer and he practices immigration law. Okay? Next word. Optional. Optional, it's an adjective. Okay? It means lo chova. And here I chose a picture of a volunteer. Okay? I chose a picture of a volunteer because when you volunteer or litnadev to do something, it's optional. You don't have to do it. So that's why I chose this picture. The definition of optional is available as a choice but not required. A sentence could be, many optional features are available on this car. Okay? So optional features meaning, my brother just got, I keep talking about him because I was just talking to him on the phone earlier, but he got this really cool new BMW and he got all the optional features. He got all these cool lights and sound system. It's really awesome. Now a synonym for optional would be voluntary, okay? And an antonym or a word with opposite meaning would be mandatory or required, okay? Moving on. Probable. Okay, probable is an adjective. In Hebrew, it is severe. Now, in English, it means likely to happen or to be true, but it's not certain. An example sentence would be, it is probable that life exists outside of our planet. Now, as you can see here, I chose a picture of aliens, okay, extraterrestrial, because I think that it's probable that there is life out there on other planets. I don't know if they look like this, but I think something's out there. And now a synonym, or words with the same meaning as probable, would be believable, likely, plausible. Antonym for this word would be unbelievable, unlikely, unplausible. So pay attention here. Basically, I just added the word un to each of these three words on top. And those were the antonyms, the opposites. The next word is required. Okay, required, it's an adjective, and it means nidrash. Okay, the definition is to make it necessary for someone to do something. So here I have a picture. It says danger, ear protection required. So basically there must be a lot of noise, so it is required, chova, nidrash, that you wear these headphones, ear-canceling, sound-canceling headphones, okay? Example of a sentence would be, your attendance at the meeting is required. Okay, in other words, you have to be at the meeting. A synonym for required would be must or mandatory. An antonym, or words with opposite meanings, would be optional, voluntary. Tradition. Okay, tradition, it's a noun. It's masoret. I picked a picture of a family eating together. So it's probably the tradition that, for example, in Israel, right, a lot of families, it's tradition that they eat together on Friday night. So that's why I chose this picture. Now, the definition would be a way of thinking, behaving, or doing something that has been used by the people in a particular group, family, society, etc. for a long time. An example sentence would be, there is a long tradition in Britain of celebrating the Queen's birthday. Okay? Now in our extras we have here, broke with tradition. So when you say someone broke with tradition, it means to do something different from what is usually done. Okay? When you say by tradition, it means the handing down of statements, beliefs, legends, customs, information, etc. from generation to generation. So great job, guys. We learned 10 words. Let's just review them quickly. So we have here challenge, it's a noun. In Hebrew, it's edgar. We have damage, also a noun, nezik. We have essentially, which is an adverb, beikar. We have the phrase for some time, b'meshech zman ma. Then we have guide, which is a noun, madrich. We have law, noun, chok. Optional, it's an adjective, lo chova. Probable, it's also an adjective, it means severe. Required, it's an adjective, nidrash. And we have tradition, which is also a noun, and it means masoret. So great job, guys. We learned 10 words. Now, we're going to practice, okay? We're going to practice matching the words on the left in English to their proper translations in Hebrew and Arabic. So number one, we have challenge. The translation of challenge is edgar. Next, we have essentially. The appropriate translation is beikar. Thirdly, we have guide. The appropriate translation for guide is madrich. Now we have for some time. Okay, for some time, the translation is b'meshech zman ma. Finally, damage. Damage. The appropriate translation is nezik. Okay? Now in this slide, you can review. You have here the words on the left, challenge, damage, essentially, for some time, guide. And on the right, you have the translations in Hebrew and Arabic. Okay? Challenge, edgar, damage, nezik, essentially, beikar, for some time, b'meshech zman ma, and guide, madrich. Now we're going to practice the next 5 words, okay? Law. What is law? Do you remember the translation? Chok. Probable. Severe. Tradition. Masoret. Required. Nidrash. Optional. Lo chova. Right? Now in this slide, we have, again, English and Hebrew and Arabic. So law is chok. Optional, lo chova. Probable, severe. Required, nidrash. Tradition, masoret. Okay, now here I have 4 fill-in-the-blank sentences, okay? In red over here, you have the words that we just learned. So you need to choose one of the correct words to fill in the sentence. Number 1, his account of what happened is more than not. Okay, so what do you think the answer is? His account of what happened is more probable than not. Okay, so this sentence means his account of what happened is probably true. Okay, it's more probable than not. Fill in number 2. The meeting was, so I chose not to attend. The meeting was optional, so I chose not to attend. Right? Optional, not mandatory. Number 3. The hurricane caused a lot to the houses. The hurricane caused a lot of damage to the houses. And finally, the last sentence. Our tour of Egypt was amazing. Our tour guide of Egypt was amazing. Okay? Good job, guys. Now at home, on your own, I want you to go into this link and I want you to practice reviewing the 10 vocabulary words from list number 35 that we just learned now. Okay? Hopefully now, by the end of this lesson, you can understand and use the target 4-point words from band 3. You can understand the word when reading it. You can pronounce the word with the correct intonation and stress. You can adapt and expand phrases using the word. You can use the word correctly in a sentence. You can give a synonym or antonym for the word. You can understand phrases and expressions that use this word. Now we're going to take a 10-minute break. During this break, I recommend you go into the link that I posted and practice the words. So I look forward to seeing you guys back in 10 minutes to learn more words. See you soon. Bye. Hi everyone. So welcome back from the break. As you remember, I'm Jessica Camir, and now we're going to be learning the Module E Pilot mini vocabulary lesson number 36 out of 40. Okay? Here in the left, I have the list of the words that we're going to learn. Now in the following slide, I have them in big. So let's review them. The words that we were going to learn now are number 1, change. Number 2, decision. Number 3, establish. Number 4, it's a phrase from time to time. Number 5, hand. Number 6, lawyer. Number 7, organization. Number 8, produce. Number 9, requirement. And finally, number 10, traditional. All right? So, can you understand and use the target 4-point words from the Band 3 vocabulary list? So the words that we're focusing now are from the Band 3 vocabulary list. Can you understand the word when you read it? Can you pronounce the word with the correct intonation and stress? Can you adapt and expand phrases using the word? Can you use the word correctly in a sentence? Can you give a synonym or an antonym for the word? Do you know the word families that are connected to the sentence, to the word? The layout of the presentation are like all the other ones, okay? Here we have the word. I'm going to write the vocabulary word. Over here we have the Hebrew and Arabic translations. I will only read to you the Hebrew translations. In the upper left we have a picture. So the picture, I did my best to choose a picture that represents the word, okay? Here I'll have a definition in English. Over here, I will have a sentence using the word, okay, so an example sentence. And over here, I'll have extras. In the extras, I'll either put synonyms or antonyms, or I'll put other phrases that incorporate the new vocabulary word. So let's get into it. The first word that we're going to talk about right now is change, okay? Change, it's a noun, shinui. Now here, as you can see, I chose a picture of the change in a little boy. He starts out as a little boy and he's growing until he changes, all right, into a man. So this is the change. You can see the change here. In English, the definition is the act of becoming different or of causing someone or something to become different. An example sentence would be, there has been little, if any, change in her daily routine. Okay, so in other words, her daily routine is always the same. She hasn't changed it at all, no change. In our extras, we have here a change of plan. So change of plan means that you change the plans, okay? That maybe you were supposed to go to the movies and then you call your friends, hey, I have a change of plans. Instead of going to the movies, let's go to a restaurant. Okay? When you say a change for the better, that's another way of saying an improvement. And when you say a change for the worse, that's another way of saying it's a worsening of a situation. Okay? Change, the noun, can also be money, right? So if you buy something and it's $4.50 and you give them a $5 bill, they need to give you your change. So your change would be 50 cents. Okay, that's just another definition of change. Change can also be a new experience. There's also a thing that's called climate change. Okay, climate change, you know, we have global warming. Okay, so that's also where you have change. Next word is decision. Decision is a noun, החלטה. As you see in this picture, this boy has to decide which way to go. Okay, should he go straight, left, or right? The definition of decision is a choice that you make about something after thinking about it. Okay, so it's an educated choice. An example sentence would be, she announced her decision to go to medical school. In our extras we have here, you can say to make or reach a decision. So it basically means, have you reached a decision yet? So have you reached a decision yet on where should we go to vacation, on vacation? An informed decision. An informed decision is a decision which is based on facts or information. And a split-second decision is a decision that must be made in an instant. So a split-second decision is a decision that you made without really having time to give much thought to it, okay? You have to decide quickly. Next word, establish. Establish, it's a verb, okay? לבסס. Here I have a picture of a Factory, it looks like an old factory, so I chose it because it must have been established a long time ago. So it means to begin or create something that is meant to last for a long time. So my example sentence is, the factory was established in 1990. Okay? Synonyms, or words with similar meanings for the word to establish, is set up, start, and begin. Antonyms for this word, or words with opposite meanings, would be to disband or to demolish. Okay? The next word, or actually here it's a phrase, okay? It's from time to time. Mipam lepam. Okay? It basically means occasionally or sometimes. All right? An example of a sentence would be, I still think of my trip to France from time to time. All right? See, that's why I chose here the picture of the Eiffel Tower. Synonyms for the word, for the phrase from time to time, would be sometimes or every so often. Or even you can say once in a while. An antonyms for this phrase would be constantly, always, or you could also say never, okay? The next word we have here is hand. Okay, this can be confusing because you've probably learned hand, the noun, yad, but here it's hand, which is a verb, okay? So it means to give something to someone using your hands. So here I chose, I typed in Google a picture of a relay race. So you hear relay race, this guy is handing off his baton to the next guy who's going to run, okay? So you hand off something. So here an example sentence would be, he handed the letter back to her without reading it. Okay? In our extras we have here, hand something back or hand back something. This means to return, okay? So I'm handing you back your assignment. After the teacher grades your assignment, she hands it back to you. She returns it to you. Hand down. Hand down means to pass something from a person who is older, such as a parent, to a person who is younger, such as a child. Okay? So going back, I like to talk about my family. So my dad, he handed down his watch to my brother. Okay? Now hand in. Hand in means to give something to a person who review or accept it. For example, I'm a teacher, and when kids finish their tests, I say, please hand in your tests. Okay? So that means, please give me your tests so I can grade them. Next word, lawyer. Lawyer, it's a noun, or a chedin, okay? Here I have a picture of a man lawyer and a woman lawyer, right? It is a person whose job it is to guide and assist people in matters relating to the law, okay? An example sentence would be, you should hire a good lawyer to defend you in court. Okay? Remember, if you ever for some reason have to go to court, I recommend you always have a lawyer. Never not have a lawyer with you. A synonym for lawyer, or words with the same meaning, would be legal practitioner, attorney, or legal counselor. Organization. Organization is a noun. The word in Hebrew is ergun. Okay? It is a company, business, club, etc. that is formed for a particular purpose. Okay? An example of a sentence would be, she is the leader of an international organization devoted to the protection of natural resources. Now you're probably wondering why I chose this picture, so I'm going to tell you right now. Because here we have this thing called organizational skills. So organizational skills are abilities that let you stay focused on different tasks and use your time, energy, strength, mental capacity, physical space, etc. effectively and efficiently in order to achieve the desired outcome. So you see in this picture, you have this guy who has got great organizational skills. He's able to do everything and time it correctly, that he gets everything done. Okay? Now you have also something called an organizational chart. An organizational chart is a chart that shows how all of the jobs in a large company relate to one another. Our next word is produce. Produce is a verb. Okay? Le'atzer. Here I chose a picture of a boy and a girl, and they're producing, I guess, some sort of art project. Okay, so it's to make something. So an example sentence would be, the tree produces good fruit. Okay? I actually have a mango tree that does not produce good fruit. I haven't gotten even one mango yet. I'm still waiting. Now we have the word, in our extras, we have the word produce. Produce, you would say produce, okay? So you say it differently, produce, which is a noun. So produce, the verb, and produce here, the noun, means fresh fruits and vegetables. For example, I'm going to go to the supermarket. I hope they have a good produce, Okay, I hope they have good vegetables. A synonym for produce, the verb, would be to manufacture, make, or construct. An antonym, or a word with an opposite meaning, would be to annihilate, destroy, or stifle. Next word is requirement. Requirement is a noun, and it's drisha. Okay? It is something that is needed or that must be done. An example sentence that I have here is, he has met the basic or minimum requirements for graduation. Okay, so right, you have requirements in high school. There are certain things that you need to do before you can graduate. You need to take the bagrut, you need to, do all types of things. Make sure you take specific classes. Okay, so these are requirements. In our extras here, we have surplus to requirements. Surplus to requirements is another way to say you have more than what is needed. Okay? Surplus basically means extra. Traditional. Traditional, it's an adjective. Okay? Masorti. Now, in the previous lesson, we learned tradition, which is masort. Okay, that's the noun. So here we're doing traditional, which is an adjective. The definition would be based on a way of thinking, behaving, or doing something that has been used by the people in a particular group, family, society, etc. for a long time, following the tradition of a certain group or culture. So here I have a picture of traditional Indian wedding outfits, okay? An example sentence would be, it is a traditional custom to eat turkey and cranberry sauce on Thanksgiving. Okay? Thanksgiving is a holiday that we have in the United States. Now, a synonym for traditional would be conventional, customary, long established. An antonym for the word traditional could be novel, unconventional, and modern. Excellent. So we learned 10 words. Let's review them. Change is a shinui. Decision, החלטה. Establish, לבסס. From time to time, מפעם לפעם. To hand is yad. Lawyer, עורך דין. Organization, ארגון. Produce, לייצר. Requirement, דרישה. And traditional, מסורתי. Okay, excellent, guys. We learned 10 words. Now what we're going to do is we're going to practice. We're going to practice doing the words in English, matching them with their translations in Hebrew and Arabic. So let's get started. Change. Change is shinui. Establish. Levases. Hand. Here we're talking about hand the verb, not the noun. So hand the verb would be yad. From time to time. Mipam lepam. And finally, decision. Achlata. Okay, now in this slide, we're just reviewing. So we have change, shinui, decision, achlata, establish, lebases, from time to time, mipam, lepam, and hand, yad. Let's move on to the next 5 words that we learned. Lawyer, produce, traditional, requirement, and organization. So lawyer, it's an orach din. Produce, leatzer. Traditional, mesorti. Requirement, drisha, and organization, ergun. Excellent. So lawyer, we have orach din, organization, ergun, produce, leatzer, requirement, drisha, traditional, mesorti. Okay, now for our final assignment, I have 5 fill-in-the-blank sentences, all right? Here in red, you have the new vocabulary words that we just learned. So you need to pick the appropriate word for the sentence, all right? She wore a Japanese kimono. The appropriate word here would be, she wore a traditional Japanese kimono. Number 2, what is the entrance to study physics at university? What is the entrance requirement to study physics at university? So in other words, what do you need to study or to do before you can study physics at a university? Number 3, you need to, in your assignment to the teacher, okay? Look at the picture. What is the boy doing? He is handing in his assignment, right? So you need to hand in your assignment to the teacher. And our last sentence, okay? We need to make a on where to go during the break. So we need to make a decision on where to go during the break. So now, during times of coronavirus, you don't have that many options. So your decisions shouldn't be that hard. Basically, you got to stay in Israel. So pick a place there. All right, you guys did excellent. So after learning all these 10 words on your own, I want you to go into this link, and I want you to practice the 10 words that we just learned. Okay? Hopefully now, by the end of being with me, you can understand the word when reading it. You can pronounce the new vocabulary word with the correct intonation and stress. You can adapt and expand phrases using the new words. You can use the words correctly in a sentence. You can give synonyms or antonyms for the words. And you can understand phrases and expressions that use the new words. I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned a lot. I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Remember, my name is Jessica, and have a great day. Bye.